wintry scene here in Eden Prairie. If you live anywhere in the eastern part, well, the western part of Minnesota too, you know what it looks like
Yeah.
outside right now. So
Yeah, right.
we're
So
very relieved to be inside.
yeah, definitely. I see our audio bars are jumping up and down. Yep. Going to just, there's about a minute delay here, so I'm going to make one check to see that. Amy will keep you company.
So we're going to be recapping the year. We'll be talking about what happened, particularly in Decorah, because it was such a busy and sort of like confusing year with a whole Cottonwood cast of characters. We'll go over DNN. We'll go over some really cool stuff we saw on the Flyway because we saw two very unique visitors this year. And then if we have time, we'll talk about some of the other projects that we did. And I think John also plans to read some fan mail. So I'm really looking forward to that because I haven't seen it yet or heard it. So that should be a lot of fun. So bear with us. We'll be here in just a moment. Maybe while we wait for John, I can talk a little bit about what went on in Decorah this year. So I'm going to start.
Very good.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, so I basically did the intro and talked about what we're going to talk about. So John, let's get started with the first topic, Decorah, and the N1 nest build in the fall of 2021.
All right. And I think Amy already said this, but welcome to Giving Tuesday. This is our fundraising day, an event. This is a big one for us. So I just want to thank all of our reoccurring donors. I know since you do this stuff automatically and you don't necessarily send something in the mail, you might wait a little while to get some letters of thank you. But
we're working on that, we promise.
I just wanted to thank you and let you know that we will get back to you, and we do eventually. So thanks for your patience. But anyway, thank you so much. And for the folks who send stuff in the mail, we got some cards and a couple little things that we can take a look at later. But it's really neat to get stuff in the mail. We're starting to get some Christmas cards
in
the mail right now. We really appreciate that. And we appreciate your stories. I just was talking to somebody out on the East Coast who was telling me how they watch the camera since it started. She watched it with her husband, and he passed away, sadly. And it's one of the things that she still looks at and goes to and really appreciates is watching the Decorah Eagles.
Oh, absolutely. And we're so thrilled to have, even though they're not Mom and DM2, we're still thrilled to have Eagles at N1 again.
Yeah.
We are very excited.
Right. So back to that, what Amy was talking about. Initially, we never know what happened, why Mom and DM2 decided to move and build a nest someplace else on the edge of their territory. We'll never know that for sure. We got some ideas and some thoughts on that, but so they did that. And it was interesting to see how often they would come back to the hatchery, even being over a mile and a half away over on the Upper Iowa River. So this was still their territory. And we remembered Mom and the young male back in the summertime. He started building a nest and she just kind of watched him do it. And we thought,
ooh. Well, that's what I thought.
This is something that eagles do. It's like, ooh, I see a nest. It's like, do I want to try working on that nest? Do I want to try it out? So we just thought, hey, and this is something that I think is one of the coolest things about our work at the Raptor Resource Project is we have become experts on building eagle nests. Every eagle nest that we're watching right now, Decorah North, Decorah, N2B, N1, the one up
Fort
in
St.
Vrain, all those eagle nests have come down and we've rebuilt them. So really the only one that we may get a chance to look at here later this year would be N4, the new nest that Mom and DM2 are building right now, and we'll show you a picture of that hopefully later. But so it's just really cool that we can do this, and I don't want to say manipulate the eagles, but give them options.
I think of it as hacking, which I know sounds weird, but MIT is a term it uses hacking, not into a computer, but where like you really learn something, you learn how to hack it. And we have, for better or worse, or hacking with peregrine falcons, right? You you do something and you have them behave in a way that you want them to behave.
Right.
So I actually do think about it that way, and I think it's really wonderful we learned this because it can
Yeah.
be a really valuable management
Right.
tool not only for our eagles but really eagles anywhere. So that's a good thing to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So that was the idea was let's build this starter nest and let's see if we can get mom and DM2 interested again there. It's like they didn't like N2B. And these questions come up all the time, like, oh, are the cameras too big? Are there too many cameras? Are there noises? I think, we've done enough research and we've seen eagles at all of our nests where we've got cameras and things that we've come to the conclusion that that really is not something they look at as a threat. Now, our new pair of eagles, Hatchery Mom and Hatchery Dad, or Hatchery Miss and Hatchery Dude.
I do like that, by the way. I thought that was when you came up with that. I'm like,
No,
that's
it's
hilarious.
just a joke until we see them actually have young, right?
Right. They're not
Yeah.
parents yet.
Yes. Yes. Um, so they basically chose that nest, with the cameras there, with the man-made influences, and it's just another instance, I think, of just helping us solidify in our minds that, we have a good handle on what eagles will tolerate, what bothers them, and it does, I think, get down to that primal thing. It's like the one thing that I see that always got mom Decorah's attention or dad's Decorah's attention is when the IR cut filter would go click at night and it would
So,
go to black and white.
We built this nest in the
Yes.
fall of 2021. And that
Yeah.
was actually, I'll just talk about that very briefly. John
Yeah.
came up with a really good design for it. So we incorporated John's framework, and then we got a whole bunch of loads of stuff from the Decorah Yardway stuff, and I mean a lot. Hauled it all up there, arranged it, jumped up and down on it to make sure it was stable, and then waited to see what would happen.
And patch the cables.
Patch
with
the
squirrel
cables, right.
kicking and chewing on the cables and things like that.
Squirrels.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
So John had mentioned this. We see mom and dad show up, but about the time we think they should be laying eggs, we also start seeing some other eagles, and we
Yeah.
saw more than the eagles we're now calling HD and HM, right? We saw
There were some
at least
altercations
2 or
going
3,
on
yeah.
there with vocalizations, and we knew that we had multiple eagles there. We didn't know exactly what was happening, but it looked like there was a lot of attention that was right there at N1 and in the territory. It wasn't. I don't believe that we had geese there yet at N2B.
No,
So
not until
that was something that came
March.
a little bit later, but I remember sitting there down by the kiosk with Robin, and then we crossed over and we saw, I think it was probably one of the last times I really saw, a lot of activity with mom and DM2. It was right about the time that the nest probably was about to, or we confirmed that it failed over in N3. And mom and DM2 were copulating up in the N1 tree. And I know Robin shared some pictures of that in her post, but right about that time and those altercations, it seemed like there was a territorial change that was going on. The new eagles, basically, like I said, it's kind of like with eagles, they can be very mean and fierce, but it's like when when they're fighting for territory, it's almost like the British and the American revolutionaries. It's like, I'm going to shoot at you right now. Look at me. The eagles are like, I want this territory. I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to let you chase me out of the area. And it's like they properly just kind of say, okay.
Yeah.
And they just leave. And we stopped seeing much of mom and DM2 there at all. It was a changeover and a new dynasty, if you want to call it.
It is a new dynasty. I think it was the Decorah Eagle dynasty totally.
Yeah. So I guess we can talk about it. How there are some options that we will be able to probably bring you some video of mom and DM2 and their new nest this coming year. We've got some options to do that. We haven't given up the possibility of setting a remote camera with a really good zoom that we might be able to show some stuff of them to later this year. But we'll continue to keep reporting, and Robin is giving reports. We'll do some. Sue and Benny are checking, and giving updates. So it's like we got plenty of updates there. We just don't get to have them on a live cam. But we do have two. I think they're younger eagles. See some
That's
flecks
kind of
in
a general
some of
belief.
the feathers. It's good now. I mean, it's like I can tell the difference between HM and HD, and it's like
Most of the time.
yeah.
Well, for me, most of the time.
Beak length, and she does have the eyeshadow.
Her collar's a little more uneven.
Right.
That can be helpful.
We've got some great photos and haven't taken the time to actually work up the detail and look at the iris quote unquote fingerprint IDs of the iris of their eyes and their nares or their beaks, but it's pretty easy to look at the male and see the discoloration, up on the top of his cere.
Right, that's true too. I forget about that one.
He's got that, and just like DM2 had the little notch out of the bottom mandible.
Right, yeah.
Some features like that. So we're going into this new season. We don't know if they've ever laid eggs before. We don't know if they've ever nested before.
We don't know what their schedule looks like.
Right. So this is all new territory, and it just happens to be 10 years after they left. Mom and Dad Decorah left N1 to move across the highway to build N2.
So a real cycle.
Yeah, pretty exciting. Could we be any more excited and happy that this happened?
No.
Well, maybe no. I mean, I say this in a loving way. Mom Decorah is getting old. We just don't know how many more years she has in her as far as eggs and production. It's going to happen eventually. This was kind of a semi-graceful change, that we get to deal with, right? Because eagles don't live forever. They like to build nests. They like to move. We had some great years, solo years of Decorah North, Mr. North, and DNF just stepping in. Mom and DM2 decided we've been working long enough. We're in retirement now.
Okay, we do have to talk about the geese though.
Okay.
Because the geese were crazy. Like, I don't know. I know people were emailing, texting, messaging, posting, commenting. What is going on with the geese?
Yeah. And we were so busy at that time. I mean, we've got some incredible footage. Even, we'll get to this, but we got some incredible footage of just the goslings jumping out of the nest from down at the ground. We recorded video of their first pecking in the mud and swimming and their little,
Do you remember though when they laid the first egg? You called me up. I was not in front of the computer. You called me up and you went, she laid her first egg. So I finally got in front of a computer and I called you up, John, I don't see an egg. What's going on? So you started laughing. Remember what you told me?
I think I remember saying, and I still remember vividly watching that and saying, is this too much information? I mean, if you live on a farm and you've helped birth, baby horses or pigs or cattle or and you've seen that kind of thing and experienced it, it's a pretty precious thing. If you haven't been right in there,
maybe
doing
a little
that,
shocking.
It's like, oh my gosh, we're getting to see everything here. Eagles, usually it's been pretty much, we might get to see the egg drop if we're lucky, and our audio is good enough. I love the audio. It's like you can actually hear the female eagles, the contractions and the chirps. The audio system that we've got is that good. So it was stunning to see. We've got some incredible footage of that whole life cycle of the geese that wanted to be eagles.
And it was fun to watch how Trish.
Is that a geagle?
A geagle.
Or a Google?
It's a geagle. It's a geagle. That's the official word now. And it was fun to watch altricial birds too. That was really fun to learn about and to share with everybody because we really watch precocial birds. And eagles are so different than geese. And I also want to say we got a lot of questions about the geese nesting in an eagle's nest. And personally, I think, and again, we cannot know, but if you look at some older records, you will find records of geese doing this prior to eagles disappearing. So personally, I think we're seeing a behavior maybe at one point was very common, or at least not
Right.
rare. But eagles were gone, eagles' nests were gone, and geese didn't have the choice. So I think we're seeing a return
Yeah.
to something that used to be, which is cool.
Right. Right. And that valley is noted for the history of geese nesting there. I was up on the rock bluff up there, and Neil and I were there one year just doing some filming for one of the movies, and we wanted to get a good shot of the nests and take a look. And Neil had his good camera up there, and very surprised we were surprised to see geese up there, and we could see goslings, and Neil was like, you know, they don't stick around for very long. He said they're going to be jumping soon. And I think a week or two later, we got a message locally from Rebecca that there was a little gosling that kind of lost its way that was on her deck.
Yes. And N2B is what, 75 feet high? But I think
Yeah.
Hatchery Rock, I think
Yeah.
that phase is at least 75. So those
Yeah.
geese had some jumps to do
Yeah.
too.
So in last year, we know we had geese nesting up there on the bluff. We also had them in N2B, and we also had another pair over to the, I guess it would be the west, over on the west bluff, over where
Oh,
the corner is there. So there
oh
were
okay, okay.
three actual nesting pair of geese, I believe, last year. Um, and
So we'll see what happens this spring.
That'd be a pretty busy valley if we have three nesting pair of geese and a pair of eagles this coming season. So, but it was very neat. And like I said, we decided to set up below. We set up right on the creek, put a camera there, sat remote
That was
in
cool.
a blind, recorded. We didn't broadcast, something we could do, but we recorded that video and we got some pretty neat stuff. So yeah, quite a year.
And then July of 2022, N3 goes down in that crazy storm. So we were at
Right, the
ATF, you were
windstorm.
at ATF, you know, there was a big storm. There was a bigger storm the next weekend.
Yeah. And good thing, bad thing. Well, it's I'd say positives is that the nest tree came down when there weren't young in the nest.
Oh, absolutely.
And it came down at a time where they had pretty much as much time as they were going to get to rebuild. And we'll show you if you didn't see the post, Robin's visit. She showed a nice comparison video that we'll show later if we have time, of just how much the nest has changed. It's really changed quite a bit just in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Month.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's less than a month, and it's a little less than a month, and it's amazing.
Yeah, eagles are great nest builders. They continue to show us that.
Probably talk about camera work. You can
Yeah.
go over. I help put the cameras in, and people will go, "What did you do?" And I'll be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
always actually know.
There's a lot of drive time between Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Decorah, so we get plenty of time to think about what is going on and what we want to do. And we don't always get to all of it, but when it comes to camera placement and trying to improve things, just a couple notes of things that we dealt with this year. And PK and Amy do pretty much most all of this. It's like I come up with ideas lately, and now it's just like, will you guys go do this? And they're like, yes, and they add to it. And
No, it's the triple team. It's all of us. It's a triangle.
Right.
It's a three-legged stool.
And so they've done great work up there. The rebuilding of N1 and the rebuilding of the nest at Decorah. But so a couple things that came up this year was being very careful with the new eagles, and we actually didn't even go up into the N1 tree and clean the cameras just because we wanted to be overly precautious.
Kind of killed us, but we didn't.
Yeah. Well, from what we see, I really believe that it would not have been an issue, but we just decided to.
We didn't know enough about them.
Is this a big enough deal that we go up and clean these cameras and do this extra day of activity? And we decided not to do that. But the one thing that we are thinking is we did not get a chance to switch over and improve some of the cameras. I remember this was kind of a secondary site. This is just the Y branch. And so ever since we've switched over to HD cameras, this has just been come, relax on the Y, eat a fish,
hang out,
give us a shot of the iris of your eye, and
Netflix and chill.
So I just, and Amy can probably say this, I was just chomping at the bit. It's like, I really want to replace this camera and this camera, and I want to have nice 4K footage and things like that. So we decided that the best option that we had was to move one tree over. And we did that. We moved the tree over to the east. We shot a line. We shot a bag, put a bag up there. We did some testing just to see how the eagles would react. And they actually, you know, they were hanging out and still roosting there. One night we had a rope up there, and I think it's when you come in a valley like that and they see people. We went and we cleaned and did camera cleaning at N2B, and it's
Right.
like when they saw that humans were up in eagle territory, I think they kind of just hung back a little bit.
Yeah.
They did perch and they did roost over on the bluff for a
They
while.
pulled back a little bit, but they came back.
Yeah, we went and we did some finish up work, removing some cameras out of nest that did not pan out last year, and gave them a little bit of time, and they were right back there. So, but we got a new camera angle in there, which is really cool.
It is cool.
You can see the nest, and you can see the Y branch. You can see it. It's almost like watching mom and dad, or mom and DM2, kind of hopping with flapping up the skywalk branch.
That is fun.
The Y branch now is the new, skywalk branch, if you want to think about it that way. And they'll kind of flap up there onto the Y, off of the nest. So it's a really neat view, and it's a great camera. After the season, if everything looks good, we'll probably improve and do some camera replacement over there, closer to the nest. So.
And we have fingers, toes, and talons crossed for nesting. It looks good, but you don't know till it happens.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should talk about Decorah North.
Yeah. So unbelievable seasons there, and I guess we can talk about the start of it just because I remember it so well. The snowstorms and the shedding of the snow after it accumulating on a eagle incubating eggs. That's always a really neat thing to see, and just to remark the unbelievable insulating qualities of the feathers and down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raptors. Yeah, I guess pop it in my head. We had a great season. It was beautiful footage. I love to watch the movies and the footage, and we did pull footage of that for the most recent Eagle movie, the Netflix Birds of Prey, right?
Yes, we did.
So that did feature a lot of Decorah North footage, that snowstorm footage.
And I'm putting together a list on the website of kind of all of the movies and media appearances we've made, so we will get that out to everybody. If you'd like to watch any of these, it's a lot of fun to me to see them and go like, oh, I know that nest.
Right.
We had 2 eaglets there, DN15 and DN16.
Right.
First egg was laid on February 16th, so I'll be curious to see what this year looks like. If it's a harsh winter, as Farmer's Almanac predicts, it might float a little later.
Right.
I don't know if they'd go much earlier. I haven't seen it too much earlier at our nest. I think some of my favorite things about the North Nest were the North Nest neighbors. So I love watching the eagles, but the moo raids were a ton of fun. The deer we get to see, juncos, cardinals, a lot of woodpeckers, affiliated woodpecker. All of that is just fantastic.
I just had a message that the audio could be a little bit louder, and I noticed that the master was down, so hopefully that takes care of that. And I should have looked at messages a little bit earlier.
Well, sorry guys.
So anyway, I think the audio is going to be a little better.
We'll learn how to do this someday.
Yeah, blame it on the snowstorm, right?
We had a great fledge. So DN15, who was probably a male, and you should talk a little bit about why we know that beyond the size difference.
Yeah.
Fledged on July 11th at 77 days of age, and then DN16, a female, gave all the fathers a Father's Day present, fledging on June 19th. So talk about the work you've done with identifying a male versus a female eagle without them in hand to measure.
Sure. What Amy's referring to is we do a lot of work, obviously, with the peregrine falcon population and continued monitoring along some of the power plants and grain buildings and other sites, and then the the Ries and nests up and down the Mississippi River Flyway in the Driftless area here, all the way up into Cohasset, northern Minnesota,
Yep.
down to Illinois. But we always use different things, toe length, size of the leg bone,
Yep.
tarsus, and pitch of voice. And that's something that is pretty unique, but it carries over from one raptor species. The ones that I've worked with, it's male.
The males are littler and they have little squeaky voices.
Right. And so I just thought it would be neat. I specifically vividly remember 15 and 16 sitting on one of the branches. They're doing a heraldic pose. They're alternating between that and just kind of, it was a beautiful day, just, in their territory,
hanging out,
and brother and sister, I can tell you that's what I believe. And you'd hear one of them vocalize, and then you'd hear the other vocalize, and you could hear that difference in the range and pitches of the voice. So tried to take some of the video and do an audio analysis of it, of frequency. And there wasn't a good one that would average the I'm not even going to try to make that noise.
I know, I'll come up with peregrines. It'll be like, why are peregrines in this room?
I could maybe do the female voice, but not the male one. But anyway, so there was definitely, I got a good ear for the pitch, and then I would actually go with a pitch meter and take the slider and move it up and down until I matched up the pitch where the vocalization started. That initial pitch, and then the last one, and there's a range there. And what I found out was that by documenting that frequency, the male range was like here, the female range was up here, and there was a distinct difference, without any. I did it for like 6 different time periods.
Right.
And they had made noises and vocalized through that afternoon, and then took them and laid them on top of each other, and it's just like there wasn't much variation at all. It'd be interesting to check different times through their age progression, but definitely I think the difference between them, even if it changed over their age, there would probably be a difference between them that would be
pitches.
Enough. Yeah, so we can tell male, female, and then I think you look at some of the other dynamics like beak size, length, size of the eagle.
Right.
But it was interesting. I remember reading a post from the National Eagle Center about how we can and can't tell the difference between females and males, and they didn't say anything about the pitch of the voice, and that's something that falcons and eagles we
is part of the suite.
Yeah. Right.
So, and we'll be doing more work on this. And I should also mention we had 2 researchers, and unfortunately, I'm embarrassed about this. I'm only coming up with their first names, Ed and Joanne, who used audio that we gave them to study the difference between
different calls,
the richness of vocalization in captive eagles versus wild eagles. And that was also really very interesting because unsurprisingly, wild eagles have a richer vocabulary of calls, even though we don't know what they all mean. So, so that was something that was very cool that happened.
It's a little bit of neat research going on and opportunities when we have time. Which is, I'm just going to throw this in there. It's like the better we do financially and with fundraising and Giving Tuesday, we might, expand a little bit more someday, with some more researchers and RRP staff and employees, contractors, that kind of thing. So I guess my tendency would be to say, if folks are giving us too much money, we'll let you know.
Another fun thing that I thought this year on the North Nest was we did what's on the menu at the North Nest.
Oh, so gosh, it's quite a variety.
It's extensive.
Yeah, and that's the other part of the research that we really need to get this down. We got like 3 good years or more of unbelievable. There's nobody who's got this data out there to really say we watched and you watched. You helped us. We've got a tool that we might develop where you guys can help do some citizen science and help us identify what's coming up into the nest and things like that, and do those statistics. But our cam operators and our moderators, basically mostly the cam operators and their notes that they take. Um, Smith and crew, they've just done a crazy good job of identifying what's been coming up into the nest and the dynamics and difference between male versus female. And I should say this now, if there is much of any, it's been amazing to see how close they are.
Yeah,
and how
because
many
you'll
meals they
see
bring up.
the difference was really kind of like overall they were almost the same, although Mr. North delivered more.
Right. Obviously, when
But
the first
timing.
yeah, we know enough about eagles after watching this incredible experiment that Bob and Neil and you guys started with people watching this. It's like now we know. It's like, well, when the eggs hatch, the male.
Chicago, who was aware of the important role that suckers play. So there's a whole bunch of bills in the Midwest called No Junk Fish, where there are proposals that fish that we've considered rough, not all of them, not carp, not
Yeah.
Invasive carp, but other fish that we've considered rough fish really turn out to be important for stream health and for the world around them. So maybe we'll start giving them the credit that they're due. So I really want to get dialed in on those fish because she was really very interested in that.
Yep. There's a time of year where in the early part of spring where that's predominantly the kind of fish that Dad Decorah, DM2,
right,
and maybe actually Dude will bring up.
That's right, dude. He's the dude.
The dude.
So Mississippi Flyway. We should talk about, or should we go back and talk a little bit about the camera work at Decorah North?
Yeah.
Because you'll know what we put up. I have
we
no
can do
idea.
that. We can do that really quick.
We put up a camera.
We use our standard camera, 4K camera with very high zoom capability, about around 40x mechanical. And we decided, we've always been able to just see one direction, and was like, hey, we've got 2 cameras on the main trunk of the tree, and then we've got one kind of over on a branch that looks down at the nest and gives us a little bit better down into the nest cup.
Yeah.
But they're basically in the same direction. It's like, what would it be like if we could take a camera and get a different angle here? So we decided to look at options, and there was a tree that Kike and Amy, especially Kike, said.
Kike was crazy. I just want to put that right out there.
But I'm concerned.
John kept telling him, no, you do not need to do this. And Kike was like, we're going to do this.
Yeah, although, when you got somebody who's a great climber like that over the years, it's like it was bringing back memories to him about, like, what does it feel like when I'm in a place where, there were some big dead branches on that tree, and Kike was up there sawing them down and getting them out of the way. But it makes you wonder when you're sawing dead branches off of a tree and the tree is moving in the wind.
What exactly is going to happen here?
He was probably just trying to put a line through the thoughts going through his head about the possibilities of anything happening to that tree when he's up there. Safety-wise, if I thought it wasn't safe, I wouldn't have let him.
Right. So, no, we were really careful. But we do have a new camera there, and it's a cool camera. So.
Yeah, so it's a 90-degree angle. You get to see, it really looks different, that whole nest structure there. What looked like a compressed view of them going up a branch that was pretty steep is actually,
can now see that
it's out at an angle. And there's much more room there in that direction that we could see before. So a great addition to the pasture cam, which allowed us to see through the trees and the leaves. We got a new view there, and we got a new 90-degree view at N1. So those were really neat options to
those
add.
were awesome.
Yeah.
Mississippi Flyway.
Yeah, Mississippi Flyway. It's always just a joy to go out there.
It is.
Whether
it's just the most fun thing.
Yeah, we've got such great partners, Tim and crew at the National Wildlife and Fish Service, and then the Bryce Prairie Group. Mark and Fritz. They usually are our shuttles to get out there. And then at Schaefer, Chad and his team,
Schaefer Marine Service.
They did an incredible job of helping us get our pole installed for our new camera. And the goal there is we actually had the original camera pole, and we decided, since the island was being built by deposition of sediments over the flood years, it was really kind of moving the possibilities of where the waterfowl, the ducks, and the eagles actually would sit.
Yeah.
So they were becoming further and further away from our active camera, and it's got great zoom, but it's like, hey, we want to be able to show you guys the best we can. So we decided to move it 300 feet out. We got it closer to the waterway that has good flow. That probably will continue to stay open.
Yeah, we sure hope so.
And they helped us put that pole in. We got to go out and install the camera. The camera is amazing.
I want a marine work barge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I know that's not in our mission or goals, but I just want one.
Sure.
Sure.
We can set up a fundraising
No,
GoFundMe
we're
page.
just kidding. But I do want one.
It's fun to put the waders on, go out there. You got to do a lot of thinking in advance. It's like, what do we need out here?
You cannot run to the hardware store when you're out there.
Right. And you can boat to it. But it's always where it seems like we think we're going to get things done in 2 hours and it takes a half a day. That's just the way things go when you're out, doing things as out in the field and creating and customizing and putting things in. So.
Well, your deer stand this year was, I've never worn waders and a climbing harness and been in a deer stand at the same time, but that was killer.
Yeah. So we had a deer stand platform that makes it a lot more comfortable. And Amy set the rigging up there so we could pull the camera up. She was up there most of the time. It's just, you can't be up there hanging in a harness that long. You gotta have something to stand.
Your legs will fall off.
So I joked to her about if I removed the ladder and I came back to visit you tomorrow, what would a human do out here?
Right.
Would you start interacting with the birds or what? We didn't find that out.
I would try to see all the cool birds we saw this year, which were snowy owl eruption. Yeah. You guys remember that? And we could have another one this year. Snowy owls have been seen in Superior, Wisconsin, up at the tip of Lake Superior. In Ashland, which is over on the North Shore, up near the Apostles, and then in Marathon County, which would be Central, East Central?
I think so.
West Central, West Central. I always get that mixed up. So they might be on their way.
Yeah. Most likely, we'll get a repeat of some of that. And it was incredible to see. I just remember a neat post that Charlie put together about the snowy owl and some of the mythology and
that was
things.
Cool.
It was really neat. But it seems like every year these things happen. We're busy with something or busy enough with something that it's like it's really neat to go back and spend some time to look at these things because while they're happening, it just kind of flies right by.
Right, and I like that they're not, our cameras are not invasive, and the owls are in kind of a hard place to reach. They like that sort of flat tundra, like the tundra they came from, so it's a really good place for them to be.
Yeah, and that is really, that was the inception of that cam was, what it would be like if we get away from this I-90 road noise and actually hear, what's going on and the incredible noises and just the sound of what's happening out there. And sometimes I wish I was like my nephew, a birder, PhD ornithologist, because he can listen to that and it's like, I hear this, I hear that, I hear that, and that one's a juvenile, and this one is a eastern, that one's a western. And
I could do that with eagles and falcons.
So I call a lifeline to do some identifications and things like that every once in a while, but it's just incredible to hear that. It
absolutely.
They don't know that we're there. Right. So, and the same thing with the eagles. So it's the same concept, but it's just, it's a different thing than just being in one spot on an eagle nest to see all of those.
We also saw short-eared owls, which was cool. I didn't put it on my list of birds we saw, but the northern harriers were extremely cool.
Right. Do we want to try to show some of that stuff or not? It's okay if we don't. And we're at 141, so I think we'll not try to scroll.
That's a good idea. I'll run through a couple more birds and then you can get out the fan because I'm really looking forward to that. So we saw a white-faced ibis. That's rare in Minnesota and Wisconsin. It commonly breeds west. There are a couple records in the area, but they're really a rare bird. And we saw a black-necked stilt, which is even rarer. So like our camera operators or our moderators or a random person will contact us and be like, what is this? Or did you see this? And those two were like, what in the world are they doing here? Wasn't as weird as a black-bellied whistling duck, but it was pretty weird. Um, and then sandhill cranes are raising young. That was, I just like, oh.
It's like we had the geese nesting, and we got to see a whole life cycle of them. We got to see a nesting cycle of sandhill cranes.
That's true.
This year.
So we got two kind of special birds that we don't normally watch.
Yeah.
Suppose we should do the fan mail now.
Yeah.
You don't have to read it though, because
I'm gonna go get it because I don't have it here right now. You want to tell them a little bit about, we're just putting together our newsletter.
Yeah. So we're putting together our newsletter, so we hope to have that out in the next couple of weeks. I'll also have our peregrine falcon banding report. We banded 69, well, we didn't band 69 falcons. We monitored at most of our sites this year because of concerns over avian influenza. We did not see signs of it at our nests, but we thought better safe than sorry. And we monitored really intensively. So we started in early March and we ran all the way through late June to look to see whether nests fledged and whether they were truly successful just versus whether they were successful when we showed up. But it was a good year for our falcons. We banded we monitored 69 falcons. We did band at some sites. I do not remember how many.
Sites,
we banded. We were careful. We ran through, all the decontamination procedures, masking, gloving them, just like COVID again. Yay!
A little bit different, but we were prepared for it.
We were prepared for it. So we'll have both this newsletter, which I'm really looking forward to. We have some cool stuff in there for you, and then the peregrine falcon monitoring report out in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
And John is now going to read some fan mail and show that off. So that'll be super cool.
And I think you mentioned about the golden eagle trapping.
I did not. Should we talk about that really quickly?
Yeah, let's do that really quick. That last year was the first year. I mean, up until about Christmas time, it was like just, we're going to do this. It's really going to be neat, and it's going to be neat, and it's going to be neat. And we need to do this stuff. And then in January, things started to happen. It's like, okay, we went out there. And I think when you get out there and you actually start doing the trapping, it can get kind of...
When you're out there at 4 a.m. and it's 25 degrees below zero, like that one morning you were out there, it's like, this is not neat. Why am I doing this?
You're climbing up bluffs and setting bow nets and things like that. So... and there's just a lot of sitting, but the neat thing about it is we got binoculars and we've got spotting scopes, and we're really tracking and monitoring just about every raptor that's entering like a 2 to 3 mile area of airspace. And you have to be far away. But what I was saying before was, you think about this stuff, but when you actually go out there and do it and have success, and then go run out and retrieve a golden eagle and hold it. And Amy got to do this too. And we went with Joe and Abby Kremrye and went to River Valley Raptors, and Jeff, coordinated that. And then Brett and Ryan came up and did all the transmitter fitting and things like that. It's just such an incredible process.
It's an incredible process.
We're both very lucky to be associated with that crew and part of it. And
right on. Thank you, Jeff.
And Brett.
Thank you, Brett. And thank you, Ryan.
So it was incredible.
And thank you, Joe and Abby.
Yeah, it was an incredible first year. We've got a section on our newsletter about that. And also...
we published some stuff online, and I'll go ahead and publish some links and some pictures from this discussion today along with the video, so everybody can see, especially if we don't get to everything, so you can see what we're talking about.
And we've got a celebratory eagle beer too.
That's true.
Great Golden Lager.
And a Flyway cider.
Yes.
So buy them.
We have some great partners.
Also, they're delicious.
Great partners that love the raptors that we work with, and just celebrating that with products that, and then donating back to what we do. So so a little bit of the fan mail. I still get to open the mail. Yeah, what's that?
Oh, gotta raise it up.
Okay. I still get to open the mail, and I'm going to show you a few of these a little bit more detail, but Christmas cards are starting to come in. Donations, as they always do. It's going to be the busy time of year. I wanted to make the point that we love the cards that come in, and we read them and make copies of them.
Yeah, they're really fun.
We share them with our board members, and it's just a really neat thing to get this stuff from you all. There was one thing, we don't have a lot of time, but I just wanted to read through this. I didn't ask for permission in advance, so Karen Hookenberg out in Dade City, Florida. Some things that she mentioned in here. She just says, "Dear RRP members, enclosed as a check, she gave a donation for Giving Tuesday. I want to thank you for all you do for eagles and other raptors. Your hard work and dedication not only protects them, but you bring many hours of pleasure to all of us Ham fans, and we enjoy it too. That's why we."
Yes, that is true.
Amy, I'm kind of jealous sometimes because when she does the roundups, she gets to look at this stuff, and she's such a good writer. It's just so neat to go back and look at some of the incredible things that we get to see.
Yeah, it is.
It really
Get
is.
kind of lost in the headlong rush of the day. And it's
She
nice
says, "I closely follow the Decorah Nest. I still miss Mom Decorah and DM2." And I just wanted, I read this and I thought, we all feel that.
Yeah.
We miss them. We wish that we could see them again. We're moving on into new territory. But she says, but I'm so grateful you keep in touch with their lives. Maybe someday you'll be able to set up a cam to view them again. And we're going to get some video of them this year at a minimum. Of course, I'm intrigued by the new young eagle couple, Hatchery Dude and Hatchery Miss. How'd she know that? I'm wishing them a successful first season, and we do too. This is so exciting
absolutely.
to see this all develop, and hopefully it's a positive thing. Hopefully they're viable, they lay eggs, they know what to do.
Right.
It's never a given. We kind of get spoiled with this kind of stuff.
Experienced eagle couples, right? So we get to watch maybe another first-time eagle couple. See what it looks like.
I also love watching Mr. North and DNF. May they have another successful season. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. So thank you so much. And I can't read everybody's mail and stuff, but I think it's fun. Maybe we'll start.
Maybe we'll try to get together in front of Christmas.
We'll pull some more of these together because it is great to see, and it's just
do some little videos.
Yeah, it really, reading through this stuff helps remind us, when we're doing the mundane things and writing things and fixing things and paying bills and doing things like that. This is what we're doing.
Getting up with numb butt syndrome.
Yeah, right. So let's just this is Giving Tuesday. So one way that you can support us is we usually set up our merchandise in a way that at least a portion of that goes to help fund Raptor Resource Project. With our shirts and stuff like this, I think for every shirt that you buy, we get to keep just about half of that.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to get something that you like, get some swag, and you're supporting us at the same time. It's the same thing with the calendars, and I'm going to just show you. I'll show you the covers, but I mean these calendars. I put these together, and I do it whether or not I have time, I think, or not. But I'm right in the middle of doing that right now. We're doing one for Great Spirit Bluff, for the North Nest, for the Flyway, and for the Decorah Eagles, which we've got 2 pair of Decorah Eagles. But so those are ways that you can support us, just making a donation.
Yeah, and any amount you give helps. So it doesn't have to be a big giant donation. We also know that people can't always donate. Like, I completely get that. And I know that people are out there doing what they can for birds in their lives, or caring for the environment or for nature how they can. So I understand that, but anything you can give, any amount helps.
Yeah.
So also, I will try to get some merchandise out this year. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'll try. So
and
we'll see.
We got the coffee mugs. Here's one that was gifted to me, or I bought at an auction at our Mississippi Flyway Cam coffee mug. Here's one that the mods put together for us one year with Mom and DM2, I believe. So some great stuff. I do want to mention for those that have the capability and who are inspired, We probably have, I'd say, on average, at least 1 to 2 couples or folks that decide to leave a legacy gift.
Right.
And we've got Jeff Borrell, who's our he handles pretty much all of our legacy giving. And I just want to thank first the folks that have thought about doing that,
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
give a significant portion of what they've got coming, wealth or whatever's coming through. A lot of times people will have a distribution or something that they need to do for tax purposes or something, and it's like, I don't want to be taxed on this, so I'm just going to donate it to somebody. So we do accept those. I want to let you guys know that. And legacy giving has been a big part of our program, and we are so lucky to have so many people who've basically spent a good chunk of their life watching the Eagles, learning about them, and hanging out on chat with our moderators, and just becoming part of the camaraderie of the Decorah Eagle family. And then we've got the Flyway crew, and it's kind of neat to see everybody who really loves watching these. One thing that Jeff mentioned to me, we have that brochure. So when you guys get your newsletters, or if you have any reason to want to do something like that, there's a box that you can check that says, please send me more information about including a Raptor Resource Project in my will, or giving some kind of giving.
And we'll do that.
And it's also good to talk to your accountant or tax advisor to make sure that that's something that you can or want to do. So,
should we run through a couple of those pictures before we do the final thank you?
Let's do that. We can still talk here, but I'm going to show you the calendars here. Here's the calendar cover. So you can now see the calendar cover for the 2023 Decorah Eagles. There's our new pair. And this is you can't see it on this, but the quality of that photo is good enough that you can actually see the dynamics and the details of the iris of their eyes there. I'm going to just put another one out.
That's a fabulous one. I love, that's one of my favorite pictures of them we've had all year. Like, we have a lot of good ones. I love that one.
Yep. See, there we go. Okay, and now I'm going to show you the Decorah North cover. Oops. Here's the Decorah North cover.
Another great picture.
That again is a really amazing picture. There's going to be at least 12 of them in there.
That's true.
You'll have to just wait to see what they are, and
it'll be good.
I would say probably by early first week or so of December they'll be available for purchase. So we'll put the links out there. And again, like I said, half of the price of these goes to Raptor Resource Project. So it is a great way to help us out and get a calendar. And I usually send these out. I can send them out as gifts too. So if anybody wants these as a gift or a donation they make, just make a note of that. Here is the Mississippi River Flyway. And I think this is the first year that we really got photos good enough of the tundra swans.
That's awesome.
We're going to have some great shots of tundra swans in there. Actually, this one was incredible. I decided to put it right on the cover. Then last but not least, we've got Zoe, a nice picture of Zoe, Great Spirit Bluff Falcons. So,
beautiful.
Well, snow's coming down here for all you snowbirds down south in the warm weather and heat and all that good stuff. Thanks for joining in with us here for Giving Tuesday. I know that we have a chat group going on, had earlier this morning, and there's another one coming up in the afternoon, right?
Yes, there's going to be, I'm trying to remember the order now. You would think I knew this. Let's see. We have Decorah North. Mississippi Flyway might still be going on. Sorry, you guys. I got here at the very last minute, so I don't know that. And then Decorah North, and there's going to be another Decorah Eagles as well. The Decorah Eagles one starts at 3. Decorah North one, I think, starts at 6.
Okay.
While we're doing this, we need to thank our volunteers, our camera operators and chat moderators and Facebook moderators. You guys do just an amazing job. video makers, you've heard me say it before, but it's true. You guys find and share the special moments, and then our chat and Facebook moderators help tell the stories and of the lives that the animals that we're watching, the eagles and the falcons and all the flyway birds live.
Yeah.
And that's just outstanding. We also couldn't do it without you. So thank you. And then, of course, as John said, thank you for thank you for volunteering and donating. Thank you for supporting us.
Yeah.
We could not do this without you.
Yeah. That's just those kind of beginnings. It's like lucky enough to be a landowner in my case, but it's like, those crazy After Resource Project people that come and ban falcons on our bluff every year. Then it's like, oh, maybe we'll do a camera there. And then it's like, oh, maybe I'll learn to rappel. And you never know where these things are going to take you.
You never know where they're going to take you. You do not. It's a huge adventure.
And I still remember Dave, I'll just say rewrap, people who donated to come and
run the camera.
Have a day at Cam Central, become some of our longest lasting volunteer cam operators and things like that. So if you're interested, please let us know. We probably are going to be looking for a couple, at least maybe another 2 or 3 cam operators for the Decorah fish hatchery nest. We'll make an announcement about that, but we're looking for some computer techie, also a nature sensitive and enjoying people that would like to be cam operators for our main Decorah cam with the new eagles. So,
and if you want to get all the news, follow us on Facebook. You can subscribe to us on our website. Just press there's a little subscribe option up towards the top. And we're getting more active on Instagram now, so go look for us on Instagram. I think we're Instagram.com/RaptorResource, but I'm not sure. But yeah, come and find us. So
right. We in a huge part of our cam op team is the Explore group of cam operators.
We would be remiss not to thank
Catherine
Explore.
and her crew there, volunteers, are just incredible, amazing, and our folks that will support and help bring our main streams to you, explore.org. It's just
Explorer has been an awesome partner.
We definitely could not do what we do without them, and we are so grateful. So thanks again. I guess we didn't take any questions or anything here, but just shoot them to the moderators on the chats, or put them up on the pages for Explore. We'll look at some of that stuff.
I think I might need flying reindeer to get home tonight, but if I get home in time to join the chat, I will do that. I promise.
I'm looking at the railing out there, and there's at least 4 to 5 inches right now, and it's still coming down.